welcome back to day 3 of Stick the Model, Be a GM mode. And remember, if you guys are liking this series, remember to like, comment, subscribe. If this is your first episode, we're going across the entire NFL, going over all 32 teams, and we are using Be the GM mode on Stick the Model, where you cut players, sign free agents, and run the 2026 NFL draft and the entire offseason. Then it spits out a grade at the end. And I will share my screen in a second. And right now we are going to roll into some of the notes that we need to take on what we need to do for the Arizona Cardinals during the 2026 offseason. And here we are. Remember, we're using Stick to the Model, Be a GM mode. If you want to go and try it out, it's a great app. Look, you can only use it 3 times now. He actually changed it, so you would have to probably buy a subscription now. So shout out to him because this is a great model that he came up with. So let's click on the Arizona Cardinals here. And before we get into all of this, what we're going to have to do, because we are going to have to manage the cap a little bit, we're going to have to cut some players loose. Let's go into the depth chart of the Arizona Cardinals and really assess some things that they need and some. All right, this is the Arizona Cardinals roster as currently constructed. It's really no secret. The worst kept secret in the NFL is that they want to move on from Kyler Murray. They actually finally came out and finally said that they were getting rid of him. But my gut feel and going into the season, it feels like going in with somebody like Jacoby Brissett, who they really weren't successful with in any way, shape, or form last season and went on this massive losing streak, is somebody who you want to really plant your flag on and bring back and be like, yep, we want this guy as our quarterback for next season as well. So I'm going to say that a big position of need that we're going to have to figure out this offseason is this quarterback position. In my opinion, I would keep Kyler Murray and try to figure it out from there. Maybe bring somebody else in and give him maybe a quarterback battle with going into the regular season. But it seems like it's done. It's agreed upon that Kyler Murray is going to be moved on from the Arizona Cardinals this offseason. So I'm going to try to keep this as realistic as possible, even though that might be hard at times. And so I'm going to move on from Kyler Murray and potentially Jacoby Brissett. Next thing that you look at here, this running back room is awful. James Conner's hurt. Over the hump. He's a little bit older now. And then the rest of the room here, DeMarcado, Michael Carter, Corey Keener. This is just a really weak room. So let's worry about the running back room here. And obviously you have Trey Benson. Trey, in my opinion, was extremely underwhelming this season, even when he was there. And then he was injured, healthy again, injured again. So I wanted to see maybe a little bit more consistency out of him when he was healthy, and we just didn't get that from Trey Benson this season. So that is a position that I want to upgrade. Wide receiver, I think we're in a really good spot. I would like to upgrade the wide receiver 3 position if possible. I don't know if that is going to be possible, but we have Michael Wilson, who was a breakout star last year, who's an absolute dog. We have Marvin Harrison Jr., who we took in the top 5, but we got to figure out what to do with him. We need him to really pop to have that make sense. And then everybody else in this room, I don't really care about in any way, shape, or form. So I'd like to shore up that wide receiver 3 spot. And then tight end, nothing to really talk about there. Trey McBride is the best tight end in football. You're in a really good spot. And then I would like some help along the offensive line, if possible. I feel like this is a pretty weak unit. They have Paris Johnson Jr. that they took a few years ago, but everywhere else, I feel like that you could potentially use an upgrade, and they definitely need a right tackle. So I want to put right tackle as probably the hierarchy of pick that we need to make here. And then on the defensive side of the football, Jalen Thompson's going to be a free agent this upcoming season. I really like this defense. I really like the pieces that they have on this defense, and I think that there could be some high upside to what this team could do. Calais Campbell is also a free agent. He might be hit or miss, but I like Dalvin Tomlinson. Josh Sweat's a good player. Jordan Birch is a good player. Walter Nolan showed that he could be a really good player. He just got injured. And then I like Zaven Collins and Baron Browning as like this rotational piece. I just like this team. I would say that in a perfect world, if we could get a better edge, let's do it. But I'm not that worried about this defense. Budda Baker, that might be somebody that we might play with the idea of moving. Jalen Thompson's going to be a free agent, but like this defense is actually, the secondary is not that bad. Will Johnson showed that he can be promising. Garrett Williams, before he got hurt, this last season. He was one of those like nickels that was kind of poised to take the next step, and it just didn't happen. Max Melton's okay, Denzel Burke's okay. These guys are all decent players. Starling Thomas is pretty good as well. He got hurt at the beginning of the year, so I like where this defense is at. So I'm going to play with the idea of potentially moving Buddha just to see what we can potentially get from that, and just maybe bring on another edge if possible. So let's go into the free agent class that the Cardinals are going to be working with this offseason. And I misspoke. I misspoke on that one. I wanted to say who they are going to be moving on from this upcoming season. Sorry about that. I misspoke. And then a lot of these players, like you can live with them walking out of the door here. And I just want to focus on a few, like Will Hernandez is walking out the door. No reason to bring him back. Greg Dortch, same situation. Kelvin Beachum, same situation. Calais Campbell, if he wants to come back again, like sure, maybe, but my gut feeling would say that he is going to retire. Jalen Thompson, why not? Probably time to move on from him. And then Jonah Williams too. Nobody that I'm really chomping at the bit that we need to have back on this roster next season. I'm okay with letting these guys go. Guys who haven't been overly successful with the organization. Can we get somebody new in here that could be some fresh blood and potentially change some things up? That's kind of what I want to do in this offseason rebuild for the Arizona Cardinals. All right, let's head back into stick the model here. And there's some things here. We have one franchise tag available, and that would be James Conner. Definitely not somebody that I'm going to be tagging. Baron Browning is definitely not somebody I'm going to be tagging. Somebody who I would, if it was an option, which I don't think it is currently. Let me check here. I would extend Michael Wilson. I wouldn't tag him for $28 million. It just doesn't make sense. If we were able to give him a multi-year extension on this platform, that would be the first thing that I would do this offseason if I was the Arizona Cardinals. So let's make believe that we can get this like this 3 to 4 year deal done with Michael Wilson, who's 25 years old, who showed that he can be like a real star in this league. And I absolutely love him as a player. So that's somebody that let's pretend that happened. And then there's just a few moves that I would probably make here. The first thing that I would do right away, we have James Conner, age 30. If we cut him, we save $7.9 million. It just feels like a no-brainer. Love James Conner, but if you have an opportunity to get that much money from just cutting a guy loose, I think we're going to have to take that one. All right, so let's cut James Conner, get 7.9 mil back here onto our cap space. And then somebody else that I'm thinking about here is I think we get rid of Bilal Nichols, who's just been extremely underwhelming. Another opportunity here to save $6 million. Let's cut him loose as well. And then is there anybody else? I mean, Zaven Collins is somebody that I'd like to play around with, but why not? Let's keep him on the roster and just see what happens. And maybe the most no-brainer situation here, Sean Murphy Bunting, who is a complete liability at this point, who hasn't been good in a while, who tore his ACL going into last season. You have an opportunity to save $7.4 million by cutting him loose. So I'm going to cut loose Sean Murphy Bunting as well. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Okay, so we just actually added $21.3 million to our cap to go into this free agency period. I'm going to keep everybody else here. We have some pending free agents. Like I said, we kind of went over them. We're not really too worried about letting any of these guys walk. So let's continue and keep going here. So the first thing that we are going to the next thing we're going to go into, is trades. Let's see what we're looking for currently. All right. Well, first things first here, we are declining any deal with Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson is somebody, he's a pillar of the future. I love this guy. Denver, sorry, you're not getting Michael Wilson. Parker Washington's interesting, but I'm not giving up pick 65 and 104 for Parker Washington, so I'm going to exit that out as well. This Kenny Clark deal, excuse me, is interesting. It's a lot of money though, and we have Walter Nolan. They kind of do the same thing, and Walter Nolan's younger and better, so I'm going to cancel that as well. And then this Josh Downs pick as well. I like Josh Downs. Am I going to give up pick 65 for him? I'm probably not going to do that. So let's get rid of him as well. So let's build our own here. And we talked about it a little bit, and I did this on the Jets episode yesterday. If you guys haven't watched it, the first thing that I'm going to do here is it makes the most sense. Frank Reich and Jacoby Brissett have a like they have a relationship back to Indianapolis. They won 7 games together there. Frank Reich is the OC now with the Jets. I had the Jets taking the Ty Simpson at pick 16, and I'm going to use Jacoby Brissett as a bridge quarterback just to get Ty Simpson's feet under him when he gets into the NFL. So let's go to the New York Jets here. Where are they at? There they are. And we're just going to add 2 picks. The picks that we added yesterday was a 5th round pick and a 7th round pick, just because I don't really know the proper trade value to do with this, honestly. So I just said, screw it. 2026. So we're going to send Jacoby Brissett and we're going to receive back pick 178 and 242. Let's offer the trade here. And the trade got accepted. So Jacoby Brissett is officially a New York Jet. So back to the Josh Downs thing, because he is available. And one of our big things that we wanted to do this season was upgrade the wide receiver 3 position. And Josh Downs is decent. So I'm thinking Josh Downs is a major upgrade over somebody like a Greg Dortch. So let's build another trade here, but this time, and this is an interesting one because I haven't heard anybody talk about this yet, but who needs a quarterback more than the Indianapolis Colts? They're in a position now where Anthony Richardson hasn't worked out. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. He's not going to be back next season. And is that somebody that you're going to want to give like a big contract to off of an Achilles tear? You had Phillip Rivers playing for you last year. And I feel like this is almost like a match made in heaven, low key. So Kyler Murray, I like him in this scenario to be a trade candidate for the Indianapolis Colts because they desperately need a quarterback. And that's like one of those reclamation projects that we're seeing across the NFL now that people are going to probably fall in love with because you watch Sam Darnold do it. Is like, what if Shane Steichen can turn around Kyler Murray? Can they talk themselves into that? So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add Josh Downs. Let's add Josh Downs. And I want to look at edge here and just see what they have. And I mean, this is a tall task. I feel like this might be too much to ask for. But what if we just go? I feel like the most realistic trade that we can do here is they have a 3rd round pick. Remember, they got rid of all of those players. Let me Google real quick. I'm trying to think. Has there been a scenario where a team has traded for somebody like this in the past? Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe, I don't know. I think a 3rd round pick is fair in this scenario. So we're gonna get Josh Downs and a 3rd pick, number 78, for Kyler Murray here. And we're going to. It's looking like they're not going to accept this trade. Let's offer it and see what they say here. The trade accepted. Indianapolis agreed, but reluctantly. So we just sent out. So we just gained a few picks here. We got pick 178, pick 242, and pick 78, and we got Josh Downs. I'm really liking the way this is shaping out here. The other thing that I want to do here, and I think that this is another thing that I haven't heard anybody talk about. Everybody's throwing out the idea of like Malik Willis and blah, 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 this, that, and the third. If you're getting rid of Kyler Murray to bring in Malik Willis, it just doesn't really make much sense in my mind. I feel like you would just keep Kyler at that point. I'm going to build one more trade here for this offseason, and I'm going to go look at the New Orleans Saints, who have clearly planted their flag that Tyler Shuck is like their future, at least for the time being. He played really strongly towards the end of the year last year. There's New Orleans. I'm going to add a player here. I'm going to add quarterback Spencer Rattler, who's 26 years old, who isn't terrible, I would say. And I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints cap situation. And is there an opportunity to get back a player on maybe a bigger salary for them to allow them to have some breathing room here? So let's just look at some of their salaries that they have on the books here. And there's one that sticks out to me right away because we're going to let Jalen Thompson walk. I think we grab Justin Reed from the New Orleans Saints, who has a $10 million salary that would put them in the positive. And then let's just add a pick here. I don't know. Let's add a second. Is that too much? Is this too much for Spencer Rattler and Justin Reed? I don't think so. Let's offer this trade. And New Orleans accepted this trade, but reluctantly. So we're giving up our 2026 second round pick, number 34, for Spencer Rattler, who's going to be our quarterback of the future, and Justin Reed, somebody who can come in and play safety for us as we're letting Jalen Thompson walk. Another thing that I just want to do here real quick is refresh the offers and see if there's anything else here. Daron Payne, Kenny Clark. I would love the opportunity to see. I wish that there was a way that you can put somebody like potentially like on the market and see like what gets retrieved for you. And I would love to see what you could get for potentially like a Buda Baker here. But I don't love any of these. So let's continue on here. I know some people are probably going to freak that I just traded a second for that, but at some point you need to get a quarterback in this building. And I think Spencer Rattler could be potentially like a sneaky, decent option going into next year. And obviously the free agency, that's not the only move we're going to make a quarterback in free agency. Let's see if we can make something else happen here. All right, we're in free agency. We're okay with all these guys walking. I'd like to get Calais Campbell back if he's interested in it, honestly. So re-sign. I just think like a 1-year deal is probably let's give him 10%. Let's go 10% under market here. Give him $7.8 million. And he agreed to it. So we're getting Calais Campbell back for his age 40 season. So let me check this off here. I got wide receiver 3. Confirm. I just like that guy. There's something about Calais Campbell. He's still a dog, and I need him back on this team. I don't really maybe we'll figure out this kicker and punter situation maybe at a later date here. Everybody else, DeMarcado, you're not coming back, pal. I'm sorry. I like you, but you're not coming back. So the first thing that I think that we should just look at right off rip is this quarterback market, because it's the most important thing here. And really what I'm thinking about just off the top of my head is where Malik Willis, Sam Howell. Where's Jimmy Garoppolo? I think that it's not sexy. Nobody's going to like it, but he was in LA last year with LaFleur. Let's give 29. We're not giving 29% above market. Let's just sign him to a 2-year deal here. We get Jimmy Garoppolo in the building. And I think that takes care of our quarterback situation, at least for 2026. It's not the best move of all time, but the Cardinals really tied my hands here. I'm doing the best what I can with what I was given. So let's confirm this signing here. Next, running back room. It's one of my big. It's got to be one of the biggest concerns that I have going to this season. I know what everybody's going to say: Kenny Walker, Kenny Walker, Kenny Walker, Kenny Walker. I like Kenny Walker. He had a great Super Bowl, great run. He is not somebody who I personally would want. He's just struggled with like weird soft tissue injuries. It's the first season and they kind of preserved him all season as well for this playoff run. I want somebody who's a workhorse. I want somebody who's going to show up every single day. I think Breece Hall, 25 years old, he played with LaFleur in with the Jets, and he's a free agent this offseason. So that is going to be my top of the line target here. I'm willing to pay him 5% above market here. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers off the top of my dome. I don't know if it's right or not, but let's just give him a 3-year contract, 25-year-old Breece Hall, and let's get him in the desert. Boom. We got Breece Hall. Love it. Okay. Maybe we might take somebody in the draft. You know, we might do something here or there, but let's figure out a potential way to. Is there somebody else that we could beef up this running back room with that makes sense? And I almost want to go. Do I go opposite or do I go the same? Damn, Hassan Haskins is 27 years old. How long was he in college for? You know what? Somebody who I really like to take a shot on. Can I get him for next to nothing? Can I get Isaiah Pacheco on like a 1-year, like prove it deal for like $2 million? Is that crazy? I don't know. People who study contracts, let me know if this is crazy. Offer rejected. He wants market value. He wants $3 million. Screw it. Let's just, you know what I mean? Let's just take it. So I think that rounds out the running back room there. I think that gives us a little bit of breathing room. We still have Trey Benson. We just signed Breece Hall, and we have Isaiah Pacheco, who's like the polar opposite of those guys a little bit in the way. Can he, if he's even 75% of what he was at his peak, we'll take that from now and again. I think that he could be a decent rotational piece, even though he sucked last year. Okay, let's just go over this again. Okay, we got running back, we got wide receiver 3, we got quarterback. Let's go to the O-line here. We still have a lot of money to spend. There's a few names off the top that I want to get right away. And Kyle Linderbaum would be great. I don't think that it's a realistic possibility. I think taking a shot on maybe a younger guy who hasn't worked out, and these two names right here, Elijah Vera Tucker and Trevor Penning, both of these guys haven't been great, but can we get them on like 2 lower contracts? Trevor Penning and then Elijah Tucker. I'm saying these guys are on prove it deals here. He wants $6 million. I'm going to force 5.5, and it looks like we just signed him. So I like this. That gives us an option to, both of those guys have played tackle. Both of those guys have played the interior offensive line as well. Those aren't great names, you know what I mean, that we're going to take shots on here, but it's why not? And there's one other name too that I was thinking about, and that is Evan Neal. What can we get Evan Neal at? He's 26 years old. He hasn't been that great. Can we get him 168% over market? Let's get him like 2% above market. Make offer. Boom. We just bolstered up this offensive line with some reclamation pieces who haven't really worked out anywhere, but that could potentially add depth. And what I'm going to do in the draft here, I'm definitely going to take an offensive lineman with like my top pick. That just gives us options to build out this offensive line with Paris Johnson Jr. And I'm probably going to take the kid from Miami in the draft, that we can just have these two. We have 2 foundational pieces on the offensive line, and let's play mix and match. And if one of those guys get hurt, we have depth to be able to fill it. Are they the best ever? No, but we need guys on this offensive line to protect Jimmy Garoppolo in 2026. And Okay, that is handled. I said edge, but let's not worry about edge right now. What can we do at corner? As of right now, unfortunately, the Cardinals do not have a defensive coordinator, so this makes it maybe a little hard. I like Greg Newsome a ton. I like Jaquan McMillan a ton, but he plays nickel. We have that kind of covered. Is there an outside corner? And if you know, you know. If you play Madden, Benjamin St. Juste is an absolute demon. Too bad he stinks in real life. Um, is there somebody that we can just put in? This guy might be somebody that I end up taking in everyone that needs a corner. Honestly, at this point, I'm going to give this guy a 2-year contract. I'm going to give him. I'm going to go 2% below market and try to negotiate here with Nashawn Wright. He's long, he's rangy, he has kind of the makeup of a number one corner without like being good enough to be a number one corner. And can he be somebody that we can throw in this rotation of corners that we have already? Let's make this offer, and he agrees. Let's confirm this signing, and let's move on to this NFL draft. And we're just going to do the first round only. And there's a reason for this. If I start getting into the 5th, 6th, 7th round and start just throwing darts at the board, I'm guessing just as much as you guys, it's completely pointless. So let's just keep it attractive. Let's do the first round. And the Cardinals have the 3rd pick in this year's NFL draft. So this will be quick here. Let's start this. Boom. The Raiders take Fernando Mendoza. The Jets take Ruben Bain. I almost want to take Arvell Reese in this situation here, but I'm going to stay course and stick to the plan here because I do think that we still need this. The offensive line is just what's most important right now. I'm going to go Francis Muaga from Miami, Florida. Let's take him, and then this is going to cycle through here. Whoa! Who took Ty Simpson? Hold on. Let's go back to the draft. View summary. It's not even going to let me see. Okay. Let's go to the summary here. We got an A in our offseason grade here. Cap health, we're sitting at 25/25. Fulfilled needs, we're sitting at 24 out of 30. Future outlook, we're sitting at 20 out of 20. We love the future in a situation like this. We want to be as flexible as possible. Roster moves, 19 out of 25. We improved the cap by cutting 3 players. The biggest move was releasing James Conner, saving $7.9 million. We traded Jacoby Brissett to the New York Jets for pick 178 and 242. We traded Kyler Murray in exchange to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for Josh Downs and pick 78. And we also traded our 2026 second round pick number 34 to New Orleans in exchange for Spencer Rattler and Justin Reed. And in free agency, we made 8 signings headlined by Breece Hall. And just real quick here, you can obviously take a look at everything here, how much money we spend, the cap ceiling, the total money committed, how much of the starting cap that we started with, how much we gained, and then our final cap space is sitting at $58.4 million. Players cut 3. Trades that we made this offseason was 3. We signed 8 players in free agency, and we made 1 draft pick. The cuts that we made went over it. James Conner, Bilal Nichols, Sean Murphy bunting. Don't let the door hit you on your ass on the way out. We traded Jacoby, traded Kyler, and got Spencer Rattler and Justin Reed. We re-signed Calais Campbell for one more run. We got Jimmy Garoppolo to come in as a bridge type quarterback and also give him an opportunity to compete in camp with Spencer Rattler, see who we have at quarterback there. And if not, we have a high value backup. Breece Hall on a 3-year deal. Pacheco is a rotational piece on a 1-year deal. Trevor Penning, Elijah Vera Tucker, 2 guys that haven't worked out on the offensive line, just a bolstered up. Evan Neal, same situation. And then Nashawn Wright as somebody to fill in this corner rotation. And then our draft that we took Francis Muaga, pick number 3. And that's our offseason here. We got an A. What would you guys, this is new, I believe. View updated depth chart here. Can we move this around? Long press a name on a player to drag and reorder. Oh, nice. So let's do this actually. Boom. Caden Slovis. Sorry, pal. I mean, you're get to the back of the line. No offense, obviously. Okay. So it's looking like there's still a little bit of interesting. Let's go, obviously. Wide receiver 2 here. Let's go, Marv. Wide receiver 1. Boom. I mean, this is the best. This is really some of the best work that I've seen out of somebody in a while. This is a super fun model to play with. I don't know if you guys have taken the opportunity to do so yet, but it's a lot of fun. And it kind of gives you an option if you're a fan of any of these teams, some ideas and moves that you can possibly make for your squad. So let's go Vera Tucker at left guard. Let's go Trevor Penning at right guard here. I mean, this is a bad offense. I mean, can Rat win the starting job? I mean, I wouldn't hate that at all. I mean, we have Evan Neal too. We have a lot of depth on this along this offensive line. We got our 2 foundational pieces at tackle. Let's go to the defense here real quick. I like all of this. Let's go Nahshon Wright as our corner 2 here. We're gonna keep Will Johnson, Agent Zero. Let's go Max Melton. You'll still get some playing time, bud. Don't worry about that. And then we have Justin Reed. See, like, where is some guys? They need to fix a little bit of this, but it's close. It's really close from being great. Again, I think that can Darius Robinson take the next step? Josh Sweat's a good player. Can these guys, Walter Nolan? The fact that let's get this guy in the starting role here. That guy's a demon. So again, I don't hate this roster. The Cardinals roster is not awful. It's not great, but the situation that they put themselves in with the quarterback, I think that I truly think that having Kyler would give you the best opportunity to win like 9 games. And at the end of the day, that's probably just not good enough in the NFC West. So they're probably sitting there thinking, what can we possibly do to get this roster potentially over the hump? I would like to see them run it back with Kyler. I just don't think that that's a possibility, but let me know what you guys think. Stick to the Model gave me an A on this offseason. I mean, look at this offensive depth chart and look at this defensive depth chart. I think I did a good job. Let me know in the comments below what you would have done differently, and also give me a rating on this Arizona Cardinals offseason.
I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.